Good morning. This is Dale Aguirre here, your daily motivator. Always here to challenge, inspire, and motivate you. So this morning, beautiful Saturday morning here in Puerto Rico on episode 425. I want to share this episode with you because it is so important for us to understand the need to be a financial warrior. So my question, of course, on this episode is, are you a financial warrior? So let me start by sharing with you the blessing. All you put your hands to shall prosper. See, riches, honor, long life shall be in your house. But here's the question. Do you have a plan to prosper? Yes, especially for those of you out there that are listening to me that are Christians, you've heard it all about, God is going to prosper you. God is going to do this. God is going to do that. He's going to bring you great prosperity. But let me stop you for a minute. Have you ever thought that when you've sown your seed in the church or wherever that you've given, have you ever thought that the Holy Spirit comes back to you with an idea? Let's be clear about it. God cannot rain money from heaven. That would be counterfeit. I mean, we all agree on that. Anything you're expecting is going to come through whom? Through men. Other men are going to come to you and give you money. But nobody's going to just show up and say, hey, would you like $1 million? You know what? I got $1 million for you. No, you're going to have to put something of value out there. And this is important. Whether you're running a nonprofit or a for-profit organization, people are going to be attracted to the value that you are giving to them. So first thing to understand is if you're going to be a financial warrior, you've got one key vision. There's a mandate on the financial warrior, the entrepreneur that you are. Understand you are there primarily to drive profit because it's going to take money to move things. Money makes things happen. Some of us, we've carried a poverty mentality for way too long. And we're like, Lord, I just want enough for me and my family. No, if you just take enough for you and your family, what about all the families that are going through tough times? And you may say, well, everybody's on their own. Yes, they are. But at the same time, too, you have a responsibility to see that others get out of their mess, just like you're getting out of yours. So, what is a financial warrior, first of all? Well, if you understand with me, you are fighting a war, especially men as heads of family. You are always dealing with the financial issue. Your wife spends too much money. Oh my gosh, we need money for this, we need money for that. The kids need this, the house needs that, this broke down. We got to do all these things, and a lot of it revolves around money. Did you know that of all the 50% plus divorces that happen are actually based on money issues? Finances is the reason why a lot of relationships are breaking up. Now let me give you something that a wise and rich man once said. Money answers all things. What he meant by that was that if you have money, there is no issue that you cannot address. Now, you may not necessarily successfully address the issue. For example, you might have a child that's sick and all the money in the world may not be able to do anything for that sickness based on the type of sickness that it is. But there is favor with God. And with God, all things are possible. So money really is not all it's cracked up to be, because there are things it just cannot solve. However, it solves 99% of the problems. I mean, let's be real about it. He who has the goal rules. The borrower is servant to the lender. Who exactly are you borrowing from? Because guess what? When you borrow from somebody, they're putting their foot on your neck. They literally have the upper hand. And if you don't believe me, go ask the credit card company that you're still borrowing from. You're going to have to make a decision as a financial warrior to, number one, make war on debt. You have to understand you are in a war. It's a financial war, and it's really about who's going to be left holding the assets at the end. So let me tell you a funny story. If we put Donald Trump, Mark Cuban, Steve Jobs, let's say the wealthy man from Nebraska. Yes, you know who I'm talking about. Come on now, he owns Berkshire Hathaway, that's it. If we put these guys together, his name will come to me shortly, I can see his face now. And you, and 10 of your friends on an island, who do you think is gonna come ahead at the end of 5 years? Well, forget 5 years, 1 year. Who's gonna come up with ideas to sell something from that island and export it somewhere else, right? So the question remains, are you understanding where I'm driving? I'm taking you to a point where you've got to learn to stand up and take ideas to where you actually are getting a result. Your ideas will actually produce money. So let me speed up a little bit for you. Your ideas will produce money, and the reason they will is because God gives you ideas so that you can create something. But here's the pop in the balloon. A lot of times you got an idea and then you wasted time and did not do it because you thought, oh my gosh, I gotta get a patent, I gotta do all this. It's just not worth it. And then 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you found out that somebody else is doing it and they're making buku moolah. So the question is, why didn't you execute? Because you did not understand that God brings you ideas. God brings you ideas, and from those ideas you can make money. I mean, come on. These guys that I mentioned earlier, right? Understand they had ideas, and their ideas produced billions for them. Whether it was a software idea, a hardware idea, some kind of product or service, the point is they ended up making billions. Now, if you get in the room with them, you might be intimidated, but they're men just like you. The only thing they did that was different than you is that they acted on their ideas. So I want you to step away from this podcast and say to yourself, what ideas have I laid on the back burner? What things have I put aside thinking they have no value to me because I don't see how they can make money? Because, I mean, let's be real about it. Everything you're doing has to do with money. If you don't believe me, let's wait until Monday comes and let's see where you run to. You're going to run right back to that job. Why? Because you're trading your time for money. And why are you doing that? Because you know you need money. You need resources. And in reality, God has placed in you multiple gifts that could create money. But to your own chagrin, you're not willing to develop those gifts because you think it's going to take way too long before I actually make money with these gifts. When in reality, God says to each and every one of us, I've given you what you need to prosper. And the most important thing is giving you. And by the way, thank you for listening to this Weekend Reflections. If you're listening, feel free to post a comment on the Facebook page where you found this posted, or whatever social media page you happen to be on, or even on the website. But the point is this, when it comes to ideas, God is giving you ideas and He's put these gifts in you so that you can take those gifts and prosper thereby. So that you can take those gifts and actually move them into a position where now you've developed them and they've become something way bigger, something that is producing a whole lot more than what you started with. So I want to challenge you today. Are you a financial warrior? Are you declaring, or have you declared a war on debt already in your house? Because debt is eating away at your life. Because let's be real about it. If you're trading your time for money and you owe somebody interest on money that you owe them, guess what? That's taken more time of your life to go to pay them back. But it's okay. Pay off and then start living life where now you can be a financial warrior. So here are some key things here that will make you a financial warrior. Number one, you need to understand that you gotta have a financial plan. For your financial house to be in order, you have to have, number one, a financial plan. Number two, you've got to be executing on that plan. Number three, listen, you got to get to a point in the plan where you can celebrate zero. What is zero? The point where you have no more debt, including the mortgage and the car note. And of course, number four, you've got to be building assets that are worth more than any liabilities you want to take on. And this is an important one because a lot of people are leveraging real estate debt, but eventually markets tank and they find themselves holding on to a bag of debt. So just watch yourself there. And really what I want to share with that is maintain your armor. You've got to increase your income. You've got to save for investments, and eventually you've got to execute on it. So I know I've given you a little bit here, but what I don't want you to walk out of your house with is a mentality of a lottery winner. I'm looking for a draft, a win draft. I'm looking for a windfall rather. I'm looking for this windfall, and when $10,000 come in my hand, when 20,000, 100,000 come in my hand, I'm gonna do this. Stop it. Let's start with, what am I doing with the $10 that I have right now? Am I tithing? Am I giving? What am I doing with the $100 in my hands right now? The $300 in my hands right now? Am I seeking knowledge? Am I actually going after wisdom? Because wisdom is the principal thing. If you're not seeking wisdom, guess what? You are still getting history to repeat itself in your life financially. And therefore, your armor has chinks in it. You've got to deal with those chinks. So, as always, this is Pierre Laguerre, your daily motivator. I hope on this episode 425, I've challenged, inspired, and motivated you today to step up, step out, and go after what's yours, but go after it with a plan. A plan, understanding that that plan is to help the next generation. Set them up so they can go higher. A plan that will be a blessing to you, your family, those to come, until the whole earth is blessed. Have a great day. I'll catch you on the next episode.